because we had a top-of-the-table clash in the Premier League between Chelsea and Spurs. It finished 0-0 in the end. Very few chances, although a very good one for the very handsome Olivier Giroud. Came on as a substitute. But I want to kind of get a health check on these two teams. Do they look like champions, like potential champions? What do they need to do? And who better to tell us this than our resident tactician, Stewart Robson. Robbo, welcome aboard. Let's start with Chelsea. I think they have a nice balance with the way they're set up now, with a genuine center forward, whether it's Abraham or Giroud, and kind of that, what you call it, 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, Ziyech, especially on the right. What say you?
Yeah, I think when Frank Lampard first bought Timo Werner, I thought he felt as though he was going to play him down the middle. But he realised that there was no link-up play, there was no hold-up play. They couldn't go from back to front particularly quickly. And that's why he's brought in Tammy Abraham. What I would say with Tammy Abraham, he's got to show that he's got the quality to hold the play up, because at the moment, I don't see definite runs from him. You want from a centre-forward, somebody that's going to give you definite runs. Whether it's spinning in behind, you've got to make sure you tell the player that's where I want the ball, or you go long to come short. And whenever I see Chelsea players on the ball, I'm not sure they can find Tammy Abraham as much as they would want to. They can't see definite runs from him. So that's something that I think Frank Lampard has got to improve. And I don't think he's going to get that from Olivier Giroud at the moment either, because over the last 2 or 3 years, Olivier Giroud, yes, he's been held up as a hold-up player, but I don't think he's done it particularly well. And the other problem they've got when crosses come into the box, is Tammy Abraham going to get on the end of them? And is Olivier Giroud going to get on the end of them? So that's the dilemma at the moment I think Frank Lampard's got. He would have liked to have played Timo Werner up front when he first bought him, and he'd have liked to have played Pulisic down one side and Ziyech down the other side and Havertz maybe, or Mount in behind them. But because it didn't work straight away, he's had to revert back to a centre-forward. And I still think he's got to work harder with Tammy Abraham's movement.
So you don't think this is... So are you saying that this is not the answer, or that they need to execute better if they're going to play this formation?
I think they need, or Frank Lampard and his coaching staff need to work with Tammy Abraham more. Yeah, I think
so. Stick with his system, but do it better, basically.
Do it better and make sure that Tammy Abraham works harder to find space.
All right. On the Spurs end, I've been impressed with what he's done so far. Not so much in this game. Am I wrong?
No, I think the Manchester City game, I didn't think they played quite as well as everybody said they played. Because if you look at and I know you like the projected goals that could have been scored in
or
the
even
game.
Expected goals, as we call them in English.
That's the one, expected goals. Manchester City had a lot of chance. They had 2 headers from point-blank range, 6 yards out. They should have scored. So I think they got away with that one. And that's the way that people say, it was a perfect display by Spurs. I'm not sure it was a perfect display. The problem I have with Spurs is at some point they've got to try and dominate games against the weaker opposition. And they haven't even done that against the weaker opposition. They're still trying to play counter-attacking football. And if you do play with a deep line and you concentrate solely on the defensive side of the game, you need a combination at the back that you can rely on week in, week out. When Mourinho was at Chelsea, when he was at Inter Milan, he had 2 centre-halves that he played all the time, and brilliant centre-halves at that. I'm looking at Spurs centre-halves now, and he's not quite sure what his best combination is.
No, I think he knows.
They're the best defence in the league.
It's Toby and Dyer. Come on, man. Yeah, we know, right?
They're the best defence in the league after already played City, United, Chelsea now.
But over the course of the season, if you concede chances and concede ground as much as they have, and teams keep getting crosses into the box, eventually they are going to concede.
Dr.
goals.
Robson, he can't bring in a new player now because the window's not open. So what should he do with what he has to go to the next level? You mentioned dominating games. Is it as simple as getting Lo Celso on the pitch more?
No, it's not a thing about personnel. It's about the philosophy of the manager and the game plan. At times, you've got to go and press the ball. Because games will make you have to press the ball. If you're behind in games, you've got to go higher up the field. And I think at times Spurs have to dominate games, particularly at home against some of the weaker opposition.
But how do they do that?
Late on in the game, you press higher up the field. They've got the players to do it. Song can press the ball. Any player on the Lamella can press the ball when he's playing. Harry Kane can go and press the ball. The midfield players, they've got the energy in midfield to go and press the ball. The fullbacks can squeeze up that little bit higher. They can do it. It's just the philosophy of the manager. At the moment, he wants them to drop, let the opposition have the ball, and then play counter-attacking football, which works for him most of the time. But there's going to be times, and you're talking about winning the league. To win the league, you're going to have to change your system in certain games and change your philosophy in certain games when things aren't going your way. And that's what Spurs have to do.
All right, instant poll. Who's going to finish higher, Chelsea or Spurs? Robbo?
I think Chelsea are going to finish higher.
Jules?
Spurs.
All right, I'm going to break the tie and say Chelsea.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.